Oh my God, that was close. What's going on, guys? It's Kraus here. Welcome back to another YouTube video. I've just wrapped up a ride on the mountain bike this morning, and I figured it would be the perfect time to talk about bike maintenance. Perhaps you are a new rider who is looking to learn how to take care of your bike, or perhaps you've been riding for a while but don't know where to start. Not to worry though, because I've gone ahead and picked 3 basic yet crucial tips that will guarantee the longevity and performance of your bike and its components. So come join me, follow along, and learn how you can get the most out of your bike. Right, so we've made it back home after today's ride, and I've been having an absolute blast riding the mountain bike lately. I'm very much looking forward to riding it some more in the coming weeks. So what I can do to guarantee this bike continues to perform at its best is some basic bike maintenance, starting with a wash. When a bike is left dirty for an extended period of time, it can trap moisture within specific parts of the bike, like the drivetrain, leading to big issues like rust and deterioration, which can greatly impact the functionality and effectiveness of your bike. All you're going to need for this is some bike wash solution, some bike degreaser, a sponge or brush for the frame of your bike, a smaller brush for the drivetrain/chain, and of course, a hose. Start by soaking your bike in water to remove any loose pieces of dirt from the frame or the wheels. It's definitely worth mentioning you should be using a softer setting on your hose like this one, as too much water pressure on certain parts of the bike can actually do more harm than good. If you're having to use a pressure washer at home, that is completely fine too. Just make sure you stand a little further back. Up next, we are ready to apply the soap. It doesn't really matter how you do this. You might have a bucket of soapy water. You might want to spray your bike with the soap, or perhaps you'll spray some soap into your brush. All that matters is you get soap onto your bike and you start scrubbing. I personally like to start by washing the top section of the bike, like the handlebars, the headset, the seat, etc., and then slowly make my way down to the bottom of the bike. Once I feel like I've got everything on this side of the bike, I'll rinse it off with some water and then repeat the process on the other side. Another great thing about cleaning your bike regularly is you get to see it from many different angles up close, which can help you see potential issues or damage that would have otherwise gone unnoticed. Okay, so that is both sides of the bike all clean now. All that's left to do is the wheels and the drivetrain. A good tip for cleaning wheels is finding a bigger brush like this one that is a bit more harsh and stiff, that will really help get into the crevices between the tread and remove any dirt. I'm going to start by cleaning the wheel at the valve here, so I have a reference as to when I've done a full loop. Both sides, of course. Now the same thing on the back. Right, so that is 99% of the bike clean. We've left potentially the most important part till last, and that is the drivetrain. The drivetrain generally consists of a cassette, a derailleur, a front chain ring, and of course, the chain. Keeping these parts of your bike clean is crucial to your bike's performance, as they are solely responsible from delivering the power from your legs to the wheels. All you're going to need for this is some type of bike wash degreaser. And don't worry if you don't have this type of stuff, just continue using your regular soap. Oh, and a small brush, of course. That was a clean catch, that one. Spray the degreaser on the parts of the drivetrain you wish to clean. And then I'm going to take the small brush here and use it on certain areas like the cassette to really help agitate the dirt. Let's get the derailleur a bit too. Probably not the best tool, but that's all right. Front chain ring, of course. And if you want for the chain, I'd advise getting a rag like this one, spraying your degreaser on it, and then running the chain through your hands just like this. So now that you feel satisfied with your cleaning job, get your water out, rinse off any degreaser and leftover dirt from the drivetrain, and you're officially done. How I generally dry my bike is I whack it on the ground a whole bunch to help remove any big clumps of water that may be trapped in the bike. And then I like to grab the blower. This is definitely an overkill way of drying your bike. If you'd like, you can just use a rag, but this is a lot more fun. And boom, that is the first step of our bike maintenance complete. The bike's now looking super fresh and is ready for the final 2 stages. What you're going to want to do now, especially that your drivetrain is super clean, is lubricate it. This stuff is going to help reduce friction and minimize wear and tear on drivetrain components, leading to smoother shifting, better performance, and an extended lifespan on your parts. Now, what kind of lube you use is dependent on the rider. Someone who is looking to take care of their bike more regularly, say weekly, might want to look at something more like a dry lube. Someone who is looking to apply this stuff less frequently, say monthly, and is riding in, say, wet conditions, might want to look at getting something like a wet lube. Anyways, let's apply it. Okay, so we've got our bottle of lube here ready to go, and all I'm going going to do is put it on the surface of the chain here, and with my spare hand, start rotating the cranks backwards, which will start rotating the chain whilst I apply the lube. Try and take note of where you started so you notice when the chain comes back around and has done a full loop. So now that we've got the lube on the chain, a good thing to do, guys, is rotate around the cranks a few times here to help really spread the lube through all the components, bits, you know, links in the chain. Really helps it settle in there and spread through evenly. And now what you want to do is grab yourself a rag, say like this one, because we have a lot of excess lube on there that we don't need. If you don't wipe this stuff off now, it's going to attract dust, dirt, and it's sort of going to reverse everything that we've just tried to achieve here. All we're gonna do is again come to where we sort of applied it here, lightly sort of pinch the chain, grab the crank, and just rotate gently through your hands a bit there, and voila. So we now have a clean bike and a fully lubricated drivetrain, which means we are ready for the third and final step in our basic maintenance video today, guys, checking and setting the tire pressures. This is a bike maintenance tip that is often overlooked or completely forgotten about. However, to get the most out of your bike before you go on a ride, regularly checking that your PSI is set to an optimal level is crucial. People who don't regularly check their tire pressures before going on rides make their bikes way more susceptible to things like punctures and rim damage. So, how much PSI should you put in your bike? So there are many different wheel sizes and widths out there, so generally speaking, a great place to start is looking on your sidewall. As you can see here, my tire is recommending I inflate to 22 to 50 PSI. Depending on what style of bike you guys are riding at home, this number could be far higher or lower. Now it's up to you to decide how much you'd like to put in. If you're a lighter rider, you might want to try riding a lower PSI, and if you're a heavier rider, you might want to try a higher PSI. Another factor is the style of riding you're trying to do. Generally speaking, a higher tire PSI means it's going to roll much faster, and a lower tire pressure means you're going to have much more grip. Me personally, I like this tire around 35 to 40 PSI, so let's pump it up. Firstly, you need to locate the valve on your wheel, which is here. Unscrew the cap, of course. And now what we have on this bike is what they call a Presta valve, which you can tell by the fact that it is much longer and it has a little nut on the top, which you have to unscrew to fill up. And the other type of valve you may have on your bike is a Schrader valve. Generally, this is a much thicker valve and resembles something that you would see on a car tire. And don't you worry, most new bike pumps that you can buy from your bike shop will have two separate heads to it or something similar to this that will accommodate for both valve types. So again, on my bike right here, I have the Presta valve, which means I am going to be using a much narrower and deeper side of the pump here, guys. And all you have to do, unscrew the little nut on the end, place the pump over, flick up the little lever, and you're good to start pumping. Boom. That's 40 PSI right there. Don't forget to screw this back down, guys. Very important. Just hand tight, nothing serious. And of course, the valve cap back on the bike. And there you go. That is the tire inflated. Same for the front one quickly. Right, so that is both my tires now pumped up to my desired PSI, ready to go for my next ride. And now, as I touched on earlier, guys, you definitely want to regularly be checking the tire pressures. If you go maybe once a week or something like that, that'll be great. Or if you just get in the habit of checking it before you go on every ride, why not? Because if you let it go too long, say monthly or further than a month, and you get on this bike and you go for a ride, fair chances is you might rip the tire off the rim or something, who knows? So make sure you keep an eye on your tire pressures, regularly check them. You're gonna get a lot more out of your bike. And that is a wrap, guys, on our 3-step bike maintenance tutorial. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Make sure you take care of your bikes, guys. It's very important. Make sure you drop a like on this video. That's equally as important if you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribed if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Yo!